We are going to, listen to our second speaker of the day, and I thank you so very much again. So we are going to talk about building trust within a team. Wow, building trust within a team. This is very, very, very important. And this will be presented by Dr. Brenda Apio-Okech. Who is Dr. Brenda? Dr. Brenda is the director of UVRI vaccine program. UVRI carries out HIV prevention research with the fishing communities around Lake Victoria and has a vision of a world free of HIV/AIDS. As a health researcher, leader with a PhD in immunology, she has more than 15 years of experience, of leadership experience in research, in health research particularly, and clinical trials, as well as program implementation in several developing countries. Brenda is passionate about what? About effective leadership, and believes in building strong leaders for the future. I like that. She has benefited from several leadership courses, including the West African South Leadership Program in the University of Pretoria and the Executive Women in Leadership Program in Cape Town. She is a member of the League of East African Directors. She has experience as a scientist as well as a manager of research. She previously worked for Med Biotech Laboratories, European Vaccine Initiative, African Malaria Network Trust, State and Serum Institute in Belgium, and Makerere University. Wow. She obtained her PhD from the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine in malaria immunology. And Brenda was trained by WHO TDR for 1 year in Geneva on malaria clinical trial management at GlaxoSmithKline in Belgium. She has a passion for capacity building and has been mentoring many, many scientists. And today we are glad and blessed to have Brenda to talk about trust. So Brenda, the floor is all yours.
Hello, greetings. Can I be heard?
You are heard,
Yes.
Brenda.
Perfect.
Very well heard.
I start with a story. How did I get here? I invite you to my journey some 30 years ago. I was on a plane on a journey to China to present a paper on behalf of my boss on malaria drug resistance because my boss had a family commitment. Of course, I had my doubts. Why me? There was a big team. Why was I chosen? I had my questions. I had the presentation. I practiced with the team and off I went. Now here I was on a KLM flight en route first to Amsterdam and then through several connections on to China. Why do I tell you this story? It's because somebody had confidence in me, and that is why I'm here today. And confidence is very, very important when it comes to trust. Is that the only story of nerve-wracking moments? No, I've had several. I remember 8 months pregnant, seated before a panel of 5 men being interviewed for a project manager job in Dar es Salaam. When I look back, so many feelings, so many fears, but still there was hope. Somebody had confidence in me. And this afternoon, this morning, I'm here to tell you that story. Next slide, please. So I start with a brief about the organization I'm privileged to lead. And this organization is funded by USAID through AYAVI, but there are also many other funders. I have the privilege of being director here, and this is where I'm at the moment. I acknowledge all the funders and the so many giants on whose shoulders I stand, and this is how I happen to be here. If I started to name them, it would take up all my time, but just to let you know, there is a long list of mentors, of believers, of people who have cheered me on. Next slide, please. So UVRI, AYAVI, was founded in 2001, a collaboration between International AIDS Vaccine Initiative and the Uganda Ministry of Health. This program was founded as an HIV research program, mainly for HIV research. And this program is now over 20 years old. Those pictures there are some of the buildings in the program today. Next slide, please. It's really exciting to share with you that we have a very big vision. And this vision is a world that is free of HIV and AIDS. On one of the buildings, there is that painting that describes the whole picture of research, right from the conception of an idea to the point where a product is actually being delivered to the population. Next slide, please. As a program, we've been involved in very many researches. At this point, these are the main studies that we are carrying out right now. We are part of the HIV Prevention Network doing the 084 PrEP study. We are also in collaboration with AYAVI and many others doing epidemiological research into adolescent girls and young women. We are also carrying a study on broadly neutralizing antibodies against HIV. As a program, we are also part of 2 COVID vaccine studies, one by Sanofi and the other by Moderna. We also have a study to find a tool that is easily usable to test for cervical cancer among hard-to-reach populations like the fishing communities where we work. Next slide, please. So this work is not possible without collaboration. And collaboration is not even possible without trust. And so I highlight this slide just to let you know that for these 20 years, this program has benefited a lot from international researchers and also local researchers. Researchers with various capacities, some on microbiome, TB epidemiology, and early sport. And as I mentioned, we are also involved in various clinical trials. I acknowledge all these collaborators. Next slide, please. So, building trust. Like I've said, this is the bedrock of research, and I'm glad that I'm appearing at this point when you've heard that within each of us is a leader. You've heard that each one who is a leader was once a follower. And I started with that story just to acknowledge so many people who have had confidence in me, who have urged me on and taken a chance on me. If, as a leader, you are going to build trust, it's very important that you have confidence in your team members. Give them a chance, delegate, allow them to take on tasks, even those that they may feel are too big for them to handle. And then, of course, work with them to ensure that they remain successful in everything that they do. I know we have over 500 participants today, and you may be saying, I'm not yet a leader. Well, there is a leader in you. And one of the first key steps in building trust is for you to have confidence even in yourself. Yes, you can do it. And it starts with that first step. The most important ingredient to creating trust, building trust in your team is being vulnerable as a leader. You need to be able to show that you also have weaknesses, and this will allow your team to be vulnerable as well. And once everyone is vulnerable to each other, you will create a bond. You will create a family of people working together to a very common and great goal. Next slide, please. You may ask yourself, what exactly is a team? It's not just a group of people. It's not even a crowd. A team is people who are working together. There are so many acronyms. Together, everyone achieves more is one of them. So according to the dictionary, teamwork is about people doing something together, achieving an important goal together. Next slide, please. You may also ask yourself, what is trust? Trust is a firm belief on the reliability, truth, and ability of someone or something. And trust is very important in building relations. As I mentioned, as a program, we have several collaborators. These are relationships. A team cannot function well without relationships. Indeed, you must have confidence in the ability and in what your collaborator is bringing to the party. What exactly are they going to contribute? Do you believe that they can do it? Do you have faith? And something that I really loved about this definition is being free of suspicion, being sure. And this is what our team members require from us. They need us to believe in them, even at times when they are not believing in themselves. Next slide, please. And now, I ask you, we are here speaking as scientists. Why do we even need to build trust? Africa comprises of 15% of the world's population, and yet over 25% of the global disease burden is also in Africa. Sadly, only about 2% of the world's research output is coming from Africa. So here is the challenge that we are facing. And if we do research in our own corners, not trusting the next person, we will not be able to achieve much. It's very crucial at this moment that we build trust within our teams, but also as collaborators, because the challenge we are dealing with is a big one. Next slide, please. There are so many sayings about people even coming together. That is just the beginning. You need to keep working together, but when you finally succeed, it will be a result of working together consistently. And this word has been mentioned several times before. So I implore all of you on this call that we need to build trust, because we need each other. Because if we are working together towards the common goal, we will be leaders who will indeed impact not just this, but the future generation. Next slide, please. So, what is research all about? We all know collaboration is key. Creativity and innovation is a part of it, and this is very crucial. One of the greatest leaders of all time is Bill Gates. He has encouraged innovation, He has encouraged those that he works with to go and explore. And because of that, his work leaves behind so many innovations. We may not have the funds of Bill Gates, but as leaders, if we build trust, we will indeed be able to go great lengths in achieving the goals that are needed for our continent. A lot has already been mentioned. It's not going to be only immunology. It will take social scientists. It will take statisticians. It will take doctors. It will take pharmacists. So many disciplines are needed. Each of them has something to bring. Without trust, they will not be able to work together efficiently and achieve the goal that's needed from them. The next slide, please. One of the key leaders who has spoken and even written is Patrick Lencioni. And I love his book, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. And he mentions the biggest weakness of a team is when there is lack of trust. And the biggest asset to any team is if there is trust, because trust is the background. It's the basis of us being able to manage conflict, us being able to achieve commitment, to also be accountable to each other, and then most important, we will be able to focus on that goal, that result that we want to achieve. So I want to encourage all of you here to read this book. It's going to provide a lot of insight, which I could not present in just these few minutes. But I want you to know, trust is very crucial. You need to give it, and you also need to receive it. Next slide, please. One of the quotes that I love the most from this leader is that if we could get all people in an organization to row in the same direction, then you can dominate any industry, any market, any competition, and at any time. Yes, at any time. Even today, with all these different challenges and problems with COVID and what have you, we only need to trust each other, work in the same direction, and then we'll be able to achieve much. This is a call that I'm giving to all of you. The next slide, please. I just wanted us to, even in the chat, just type out in your own language many different sayings about teamwork. These are examples from some languages in Uganda, and they are really just emphasizing that unity is strength. And if you're in a team without trust, you will agree with me that you will not be able to be united. So I want to emphasize, and I will look at the chat later to see the different sayings in different languages that really spell out the importance and the fact that unity is really key. Next slide, please. And the next one, do the same about trust, actually. Unity, trust, any sayings that you may have in your language that emphasize the importance of trust. Next slide. I'm glad I can see all those words coming up. Next slide, please. And here is one from the Bible, you achieve much more. Next slide. And then I'm glad many of the speakers have already mentioned John Maxwell, who describes leadership as influence. And of course, a goal is so much more important than the role. So as leaders, it's our role to let all the team members know that they are crucial, They are important in us achieving the goal. That multidisciplinary team should trust that if the pharmacist does his role, then even the doctor excels. If the driver does his role, then the person in the community also excels. And it's the role of the leaders to give direction and to give confidence to the members. For us at UVRI Ayavi, one thing we always emphasize is that we are a family. And that urges us to know that we are together. Yes, we may not all be perfect, but we need each one to contribute, each one to give their role in order for us as a team and as an organization to excel. The next slide, please. There are so many other sayings that he has. We need to pay the price if we are part of a team. We need to have shared values. We need to interact. Communication has already been emphasized. And if we are winning as a team, then we can as well bear with some hurts. And the difference between success of teams or failure is really in leadership. And what we invest in the team is really a compound investment because it starts to pay off when the team is delivering. Next slide, please. So as a leader, look out, what are the needs of your members? What are the needs of the team? And what are the tasks? So that at the end of the day, like Steve Covey says, you work for a win-win situation. A lot has already been emphasized. Let the team members know that our leaders have our interest at heart. Our leaders have the best at heart. And that even as we achieve the goal of good research, of good publications, the organization wins, the individual wins, but also as a continent, we win because together we come up with solutions that are usable. Next slide, please. So, connection, communication, all these are very key. If everyone is to really trust and be at the best, because each member is unique. Someone already said, you will be fooled if you think as a leader you have all the answers. You don't. You need to look for feedback. You need to allow the other team members to bring their value, and together the team will be able to achieve more than if it was just one person dominating. And please, as a leader, bring out the solutions from each one. Allow each one to contribute. Next slide, please. So these are some of the key aspects that we need to consider. And all these are really in the book. Trust and trustworthiness. It's really about being open. As I mentioned, as a leader, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to say, I don't know this, and I'm counting on the team to fulfill this role. I can see the chair is already showing, so I'll just rush to the next slide, please. So I just wanted to say that as a scientist, give up on thinking you are Superman or Superwoman. Be real, because you need a team, and you need a team of people that trust each other. One person is too small to achieve greatness. The next slide, please. All these you will be able to look at. So this is my call. Remember, teamwork begins with trust, and the only way to overcome is to be vulnerable. Don't allow that spirit, that Superman spirit of thinking you know it all. No, admit that this I do not know, this I am good at, because there will be someone else on the team who can plug that gap where you are weak. And it's okay for everyone to bring their contribution so that together we really trust each other, we count on each other, and then we achieve more. So in this last slide, I'm really inviting all of you. Be vulnerable. Be confident in your team members. Delegate to them, but also be confident in yourself. And together, we'll be able to really achieve as Africans. As I said, I acknowledge many, many mentors who have had confidence in me. Even as I sat in an office, 8 months pregnant, they said, yes, we believe this woman will do the job. She will lead the project. And because of what they did, they believed in me. They gave me confidence to believe in me, and I was able to achieve. Thank you so much for listening. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you so very much, Brenda. That is awesome. Like Donald, we are blessed since yesterday. I think, well, nothing to say. So we have so far a good, scheduled performance indicator. So we are not, the time is okay. So Brenda said one thing, trust yourself if you want others to trust you. That's true. Because if you sell something to eat and you don't like what you sell yourself, I may not go and buy it, never. If I know you don't eat what you cook, I will not eat it. So this is trust. Thank you so very much. And I love that. One person is too little to achieve great things, from John Maxwell. And she invited us to read some books. Yes, let's come back to books. Thank you, Brenda. So the time is precious. So let's go to the questions. Some question, goes to both of you, but I will take a few one, that are sent to Brenda alone. And later on, we will, give some question that go to both of you. Wow, we have so many questions. I think, yes. Thank you, Dr. Brenda from Mbogwe. Please, how do you clearly communicate your weaknesses to your team as an aspect of vulnerability, given the fact that the information might speak horizontally among your team with different understanding? I hope you understand the question. I can read it again.
No, I got it. It's fine.
Great.
So it's a question about how to be vulnerable.
Yes.
Of course, I invite you to also use wisdom. And it's good. It's not about washing all your dirty linen in public. However, you share wisely and also what is relevant. Of course, we all see the sensational newspapers shouting about different things about this leader or that leader. But it's okay to admit to the team, for example, that, look, I made a mistake. I have made promises to my team in the past, and then halfway I found we could not fulfill that. So I had to come clean and say, I apologize. I made this promise based on X, Y, Z. Unfortunately, we are not able to fulfill this promise. So I apologize to you. And I normally explain where I am coming from. Then there can be occasions where, for example, you have a health challenge or a personal challenge. You may not need to share the nitty-gritty, every detail, but just to say, excuse me, I will not be there for the next 2 weeks because I have a personal challenge I'm dealing with. Maybe my child is sick, or I have a personal issue, and you may share the details with a few trusted people. So it's good to be vulnerable and admit a mistake you've made that affects the team. And also, it's good to share your journey. There may be places where you made a mistake. And it's interesting, we learn a lot from failure, not just from success. So it's okay to share with the team, look here, I applied for this grant. we have not got it, but this is what we can learn from it. We have failed in this, and we can improve, especially where you are able to learn as a team. So it's fine to admit. And as I mentioned, you have to do it very wisely. Yes.
Thank you, Brenda. We have so many questions. So I'm taking a question from West Africa, from Dr. Gibre Wad from Senegal. How could we define growing together? I think this is both of you. If Donald wants to respond, the floor is yours. Brenda as well. How do you define growing together?
I'll go first, then Donald can take it on.
Thank you.
Growing together. And this is something that was modeled to me in the first research laboratory I worked in. There are many who came with diplomas, and others came with PhDs already. But as an organization, they supported each of us at Med Biotech to be able to develop further. And several people moved on from a diploma to a first degree, to a master's, and then to a PhD. There was not always funds to support this. However, some staff were just given time. And of course, as the organization was supporting people, it meant the quality of the staff was also growing. So Med Biotech was growing, and also the staff were growing. And really it speaks to the win-win situation, because there are situations where if you grow the people, and I think someone mentioned this, when you help the people achieve what they want, then you will also achieve the bigger goal. Over to you, Doctor.
Yeah, Dr. Brenda, I think your answer is just brilliant, and I don't have a lot to add to that. And the key message here is, as a leader, you have to understand what are the willing of your follower, what is their career path, and how can you share your experience, how can you guide them, because you are supposed to have more experience than them, and you can tell them like, okay, with your profile, I think if after this you take this direction, you can even go higher. Me, I would have loved to have done that, but I've realized that later. But I think you have the chance. If you want to do that, you can do it. When the follower hears something like that, that you are willing to show him something that you too were willing but not able, you understand that you care about him. And this is how they will give it back to you. No human being also.
Thank you both. A last question, a last small one, and then we take a break. Many persons ask the same question, so let me put it to you. When the trust is broken, how do we repair it? Let me put it that way, because they said it a different way. So with broken trust in a team, how do we repair it?
Yes, it really takes time. It's not something that you can happen instantly. You will need to take time. It takes time to build trust. It can be broken very fast. And when it is broken, you will still need to invest time. And the first is really to be open and to be honest about what has gone wrong, and then to share what you are going to do to rebuild that trust. And communication is more than words. I think when people see you modeling the change that you're promising to make, then they will know that we can begin to trust this person again. However, we have to give people time. If we know we've done something to break trust, it's good to give time for that trust to again be rebuilt. And it will be nice to speak and also to show that you are now on the path of repairing that trust. For example, if, I'm trying to think of a quick example, a quick example that, for example, you've passed someone for promotion who should have been the one who was promoted, and they get to know about it. You would have to apologize because of what you've done. but also show that you are now looking out for an opportunity for that person to make up or maybe to advance. So it's not just about saying you're sorry, it's about acting, what you are doing to make that better, and also giving it time.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so very much. We are, you know, we are going to stop here, take a break of 5 minutes. You remember yesterday, John Amwasi said something very important. The basic thing that a leader must do is to have knowledge. And he spoke about the ethos, pathos, and logos. And I think today, Brenda has developed the ethos, which is using character, credibility, trust, ethics to persuade. This is very important. The pathos, as John said yesterday, is the fact of using our emotions and passion to persuade. And the logos is the logic, the knowledge itself, reasoning, and evidence to persuade. Leadership, all about leadership. It is amazing. Unfortunately, we cannot talk forever and ever. So we'll take a little break. We have many questions. We'll take some of the questions during the panel discussion. So I'll give the floor back to the organizing team. We'll take a break and we'll come back later.